Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm playing with 6x6 paper pads to create journal pages for my junk journals. I have way too many 6x6 paper pads. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. I obviously wasn't when I collected all of them. And I rarely use 6x6 anymore. I really like 12x12. So I wanted to find a way to use them in my journals. And if you guys have been following me the last couple of weeks, you know that I am taking a paper pad, this 12x12 one with the trains on the back. It's a little boy paper pad that I know I will not use going forward the way it is. And so I keep going back to the paper pad and kind of recreating the pages. So for these right here, I am using a single-sided, very lightweight, it's basically copy paper weight, which is like 20-pound paper from Spellbinders, which is totally fine. Like, I never am upset that they have lightweight paper, patterned paper. I actually like it, that it's not a real heavy one. I like having both, obviously. But what I'm doing here is I'm putting this down with a glue stick. You don't have to use a glue stick. I was honestly just trying to use mine up because they're old. I prefer wet glue, but I'm just trying to use this up. Anyways, so I'm putting this down on top of the pattern that I don't want. And the paper that I'm putting it on top of is single-sided as well. So the back of this paper is white, which is going to be great. I'm going to show you guys some ways that will address that side later. I'll give you lots of ideas about what you can do with the blank white pages once you have these fronts done. So now I've got my 4 panels tacked down. You know, obviously I'm going to fold this in half to go on my journal page. It needed more glue. I'm fine with glue sticks. It's just, I live in Texas. It's extremely humid, and I just find that they don't hold over time. That's why I prefer wet glue. All right, now I'm bringing in another piece of paper, and I'm actually using up a Maggie Holmes 12x12 paper pad right now. I can't believe it. There's only 6 sheets left. It's so hard. That's one that's really hard for me to use up. But I'm creating these strips. So I want to use these strips to cover all of my seams. Now, you saw me take a perfectly good piece of scrapbook paper to do this, but you don't have to. I'm going to show you some alternatives in this video as well. So there's lots of ideas here for you of ways to piece things together. And I've been doing a lot of collage lately, but I don't really think this doesn't feel like as much as collage as I am just piecing things together. It almost feels like paper quilting. So I did one more of these with you guys here, and I'm just alternating patterns. You know, I did have to think about that one that I'm applying now to the bottom left because it is, it does have like an orientation to it within the pattern. And I'm putting down my strips again. I cut the center strip at 1 inch and the one that's going vertically, and I cut the other one at 3/4 of an inch that's going horizontally, in case you're wondering. So I made a whole bunch of these sheets, and then I brought in some stamps. So I grabbed different ones from different companies. I grabbed some stencils. I even brought in my foil. So just doing kind of mixing all different kinds of things. I just wanted to give you lots of ideas about, you know, ways to decorate the white page within your journal. So on these, I didn't go all the way to the edge because I knew I was going to be trimming these down. So eventually, and I'll show you when I do it, I will be trimming these down just to fit within what I typically make a journal to be, which is 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper folded in half. Okay, here's my gilding glue. I know some people had wondered about it in one of my last videos. It is made specifically for foiling, and I believe it's made by Prima. I'm getting it out now. Don't mind all the rifling. Art Extravagance by Finnabar, which I think is a Prima company, or Prima is a part of them. Either way, it's by Finnabar, and it's called Gilding Glue. It's 2.7 fluid ounces. I bought mine on a cherry on top, and it says a special water-based, slow-drying glue dedicated to metallic flakes or metallic foil techniques. It can be used to attach embellishments such as mica flakes, glass glitter, rhinestones, and more. So yeah, I really like it. It's so sticky. So y'all saw I was using my finger to kind of dab it in places, and wow, it's super sticky. So I just stenciled over some of the foil, and that's fine. I'm going back with my anti-static powder tool just to make sure if I missed any sticky parts that they don't stick my pages together. So I just made sure there was no stick remaining. And now I'm doing the other side. This stencil is a Stamperia stencil from their Amazon collection. I really liked the variety. And I'm bringing in my Kiritaki metallic watercolors, splattering some of those on. I mean, I really just played. That's what I like to do. And added texture, added color, added interest. This is Moonstone from Lawn Fawn. It's one of my favorite blue ink colors. And this is an Altenew set that I'm using here. You know what? I still have it. Let me see, grab it and see what it's called for you guys. It's old. It's from 2017, and I actually don't see a name on the packaging. Oh, Frosted Garden. There it is, Frosted Garden. But grab anything you have. Now, if you saw one of my other videos, I was using watercolor in making my lined paper, but in this one, I decided to use my chisel tip of my alcohol markers. And I'm doing this in an ombre, just going from my lightest blue to my darkest blue. And that's just kind of fun. I really like, I'm getting to a point where I really don't like things sideways, like book pages sideways and lined paper pages sideways in my junk journals. So I like to make these lined pages myself. All right, now y'all saw I had to cut that down, obviously, from 12, and I cut it down to be 11, 8.5 by 11, just a little shy of 8.5. So now I'll do that again. So I'm cutting it down to 11, which I just took 1/2 inch off each side, and then I made the big slice. And I like how this changes it up. And you can see like some of my stamping is kind of cut off, and that's why I was saying I didn't stamp to the edges and I didn't color to the edges, because I knew I was going to be cutting these down to the paper size. You could obviously cut it down in advance, but I found that this really worked for me. Okay, this is a sheet of paper, not this one, but the one I'm about to glue on top of is from Happy Mail from Rhonda. Thanks, Rhonda. And I am kind of using a similar approach. So this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And now I'm just grabbing scraps, and I'm grabbing this 6x6 paper, and which was also from Happy Mail from Rebecca. Thanks, Rebecca. And just random scraps, and I'm building a page. So this one definitely feels more collaged. But man, I sure do love it. So, you know, you don't have to have printables to have beautiful pages in your journals. And that's what I've been focusing on with you guys this last couple of weeks, is creating some pages without printables. I love printables very much. But I know they're not for everyone. And so I wanted to show you that with the supplies likely that you have in your stash already, You can be making your own just beautiful artistic pages to go in your journals. This one I'm using a doily that also came from Rhonda. And Rhonda, I'm so glad you just went for it and chopped these in half, because I had some of these in my stash and never used them because they were so large. Or I would just cut off like the frilly parts and dissect it really small. And now I'm like much more inclined to just chop them in half. It's brilliant. Okay, let's do this. Now I'm working with 6x6 paper, but it's double-sided, and I don't want to sacrifice either side. So I grabbed 4 pages. This is really old paper from Stampin' Up. When I say really old, I mean it's a few years old. Don't know what it's called. I don't remember. You might have some in your stash. And then I'm using these test strips. So my printer, I've been printing so much that I've been having to clean the nozzles and do nozzle checks. Well, of course I save that paper. And that's what I'm using for my seams here. Okay, now for this one, I used the washi tape, as you can already tell, to hinge my pieces together temporarily. And now I'm just going to glue the vertical and horizontal pieces down. And once you have that one vertical piece down, you're good. You can take your tape off because your paper is going to be much more stationary. One thing you'll want to do is the vertical pieces here, they can totally touch. You want those touching and lined up very well. But the vertical piece, you want just a tiny bit of separation so it'll fold for you. But I really love these pieces. These pages are lots of fun. And you can decorate them, later. So with this one, this is another printable. It's not actually a book page. I'm getting to where it's just so much harder to tear books apart that I'm really just loving my book page printables. See that little seam there? You want that, right? So that these fold together well and lay flat in your book. You don't want those butted up right next to each other. So that's how I made these pages from 6x6 paper. So if it's double-sided, you don't have to worry. You don't have to lose the beautiful sides. So these are the ones I made. They went so fast, you guys. I made all of these pages in less than 30 minutes. So it's just a lot of fun to pull out lots of different supplies and put them to work for your next project. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I have some of these in journals that I've been making. You're going to see one coming up. I know you've already seen a couple. So I'm just showing you here the painted pages I did, kind of mixed in now with these pattern papers and what it looks like when you're flipping through the journal. I think they're beautiful and lots of fun. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.